name's Danny Mann, and I will be directing the Red Velvet Cake War for Kirkwood Community Theater this upcoming season. This is only my second show with Kirkwood. I stage managed for them last year and then was thrilled to be asked to be the production manager this year and also to direct one show. My background, right out of college, I was a drama teacher. Taught for 5 years in middle school and high school, and then after that I went on to do other things. Didn't mean to get away from teaching in theater, but I did for a while. Then when I realized I really missed it, I got back into community theater about 6 or 7 years ago and have been directing and doing all sorts of things with some other local groups. It's really funny when people ask me why I started directing, because I think that I always have been. It's kind of funny. I've never actually wanted to be on stage, as far as maybe fleeting moments as a kid where you think that might be fun, but it's really the putting it together that I like. And when I think back to the way that I played as a child, it didn't matter what I was playing with, whether they were dolls or toy cars or Super Balls, they always had to be assigned characters. They had relationships with one another, and I would spend hours setting up the premise of the play and where we were and what was going to happen. And then after I worked all that out and figured out each car's relationship to the other or whatever we were playing, once that was figured out, then I usually quit. I didn't really have the interest of acting it out. I just wanted to come up with what the story was going to be and how I was going to put it all together, and I pretty much always played that way. Then when I was in high school, needed a fine arts credit and took a theater class. My first one was production, not acting. And I was thrilled by it. We had the best time. It wasn't very high level. A lot of it was putting, together our own puppet shows and things like that, and helping with working on the shows that the school was doing. And I just fell in love with it. At that time, I didn't even think that I would make a career out of it or teach it, but I loved it. Went on to college after that. Went in as a finance major and somehow came out as a communications major with certification to teach speech and theater. And that basically happened because they promoted communications courses and theater courses for the business majors, so you would be better at presenting yourself. And I started taking those courses and realized that's what I really liked and that's what I was getting excited about. So I switched majors halfway through, and now I'm a theater person with a lot of business experience. So I think the Red Velvet Cake War is a ton of fun. The first time I read it, I was in an airport and I was snort laughing the entire time. It's a lot about relationships. It's a lot about timing. I just think it's going to be a ton of fun. I think the audience is really going to enjoy it. And I tend to often go more towards dramas. So for me, it's really, really very exciting to do something that's just completely silly and funny like this one is. So I'm very excited about it. I know specifically for this show, I'm really going to be looking for comedians. I'm going to be looking for people who understand timing. Like I said, when I read this play the first time, I just thought it was hysterical, and every time I reread it, I think it's hysterical. However, I have fished around on YouTube a little bit and looked up when other groups have done it, and I have seen that you can ruin it, and it can be very not hysterical if it's not done correctly. So I know in my mind I've got to find the right people that have chemistry with each other. So that'll be part of it. My assumption is that there will be any number of people that are good for a specific role, but it's the team together, it's the ensemble cast, how well are you working with the other people that I'll be looking at, and really the timing. When you're delivering those lines, what are you doing with it? I'm not going to be looking for someone just to read it. I really need to see that you can do something with those lines. Generally, my approach to the rehearsal process is I first go through, break the script down into small parts that I think are easy and doable, and I tend to get sections. We might come one week and do section 1, 2, and 3, and then when we see each other next time, we'll run all 3 of those together. I do a lot of repetition early on, because I find that if you just start at the beginning and keep going through and learning new blocking, by the time you get back to the original stuff, no one remembers it anyway. So the way I structure my rehearsals, I really never have issue with that. I think that people learn each piece of the play strongly enough as they go that when we start putting it together, that's not an issue with when was the last time we did this and do I remember what's going on. So I try to keep it small, palatable pieces that they can really learn. When we start with the blocking, again, the repetition helps so that when we finally put down that script, they're ready to really do something, as opposed to just say the lines and try to remember what it was that they were supposed to be doing. So a lot of repetition early on. I don't believe that I have too much trouble with my actors with worrying about line memorization or feeling overwhelmed. Pretty organized myself, and I think I organize it in a way that people feel that they're kind of set up to win, as opposed to it being a stressful situation. We generally have a really good time, and I think with this particular play, we're going to have a really good time because it's funny. So it's going to be a fun process. Yeah, I think for the actors in this show, there might be a tendency to want to get a little stereotypical, or that kind of thing, and they are real people. The situation is hysterical, but like I said, I know people that are like a lot of these people, and I'm sure many do, and the situation that they're put in is what's funny, but we need to keep real characters and real people and let them respond to the absurdity of the situation, as opposed to making caricatures out of them. I don't want anything huge or overblown. Yeah. Dealing with the new production manager is interesting because I'm the new production manager, so it's actually perfect, and I think I said at the last board meeting that it's perfect for me learning the production management role and the first director to be me, because the only person I can really tick off is me, and I don't intend to be mad at myself, so it'll all work out. If anything goes by the wayside, and the only person that's really being affected is myself, so I don't have to worry about getting along with the new production manager. I think she's cool. I think one thing that I would like to mention for both performers or production crew that would be interested in this show and KTG in general is that you're going to enjoy yourself. I've worked with other groups. We all have. Those of you that do this, you work with other groups, and sometimes it's crazy and sometimes it's fun. But what I have found so far at KTG is that it's very organized. People are not being overwhelmed, asked to do too many things. You don't feel like you're left out in the open or set up for failure because certain things aren't happening as they should be. It's a great team. It's really good people, a lot of support, a lot of organization, a lot of infrastructure, which is, not everyone can do that, but they've been around long enough that they can, and it's an extra perk, I think, that I've experienced so far. Is I've just really enjoyed the team. It's been just a great process with working with these people and being around people that are all in a good mood. They're all excited about what they're doing, and everybody has skin in the game and really commits. And I think that's nice. And there's a lot of groups around that have that. There's a lot of groups that don't. KTG does.